It's 7:57 and I'm getting an earlier start today, which is what I hoped. Rain is coming, I think. At least that's the forecast. It's quite a dreary day. My campmates last night were not very friendly, and I am going to say it's because they were young and they didn't know any better. But today is a new day, and I have about 13 miles to the next shelter. I hope I don't get too wet. I just passed by a campsite that I was thinking of aiming for last night, and then when I saw the other two hikers camping, I thought I wanted company, so I didn't push further. And of course my mind is playing with it. It did last night and this morning because the other hikers weren't friendly, and I would have preferred to be alone because then I could have done some videos and yoga and just really enjoyed myself. But I felt odd because there were other people there and I just wasn't included. So it reminds me of this idea of maximizers and satisficers that I read about years ago. And I tend to be a maximizer. So I want the best solution always. I want to make the most out of every experience. And that can be hard because then there's a lot of, well, I should have done this, or maybe if that. Decisions become really hard, challenging. In my view, what I'm looking for is I'd like to be more of a satisficer. Like, is it good enough? Last night's camp was good enough. There were good trees to hang. It was comfortable. I was able to do yoga. There was a water source, and it was good enough. And I don't want to think about, well, I could have or should have or anything like that, because that just does not serve me very well. So here's to all the satisficers out there. I think you've got it going on. I've been seeing a lot of this lichen, I think it's lichen, lately. Correct me if I'm wrong, on rocks. Reminds me of home. Lots of things remind me of home. I don't love the idea of getting wet today, and I've put everything inside my pack to keep it as dry as possible, even though I'll probably get rained on overnight with the upcoming thunderstorms. But I would rather get rained on the day before I head into town so I can dry stuff out than think about getting rained on and then being out here for another 5 days with wet gear. So I'm also really enjoying the cloud coverage because yesterday was hot. And even though it's cloudy and a bit cooler, I'm already sweating. I'm trying a slightly new strategy. Everything is inside my pack, including my tarp. Now, I might not do that if I weren't camping, if I were not camping at a shelter, because I like to have my tarp on the outside here in the mesh pocket so I can pull it out and set it up and be protected before I open the top of my pack. But since I'm in a shelter, I can put the pack in the shelter, get the tarp out, and go set it up. So I put it inside. My rain jacket is here in case it rains. And then in this pocket, I've put all of my snacks and my lunch for today. So that way I don't have to open up my pack to grab lunch because I don't think there's probably not going to be any coverage between now and the shelter. So yeah, that's my strategy. Let's see how it works. So it only took me under an hour to get to that trailhead for the shelter. So last night, the one sign said 2.5 miles to the shelter, and far out said 3.7. So I'm guessing it's closer to the 2.5. for sure, which I don't know what that means. Does that mean far out is not accurate, or maybe the shelter was further off the trail than I think? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. It's interesting to think that it's 9 a.m. and I only have 10 miles to go. Makes me reconsider my plans, because I will most likely be at camp by 2, and that's a really long afternoon. But I guess that's okay, because the alternative would be to get into town tonight, and if I do that, I'll have less time to charge devices and to upload videos and things like that. So I don't know, it does delay my progress forward. I could definitely be a day ahead if I went in, but I don't think I want to do that. I'm sharing my morning with some cows. There's some babies going through this meadow, this pasture. More things to remind me of home. It's been an hour and a half and I'm hungry, so I'm making myself stop. And this is what sounded the best. PB&J on trail. Peanut butter and some dried fruit. The snack was good. I'm still amazed how my hiker hunger has come back full force. So I have a decision to make. In half a mile, there is water. And then there's no water for another 7 miles. Actually, I already know my decision. I'm not gonna get water. I've been doing better about how much water I need and hydrating. And so the terrain isn't bad and the weather is, it's warm, but I'm not sweating. So I think I'll be good. I changed my mind. The water looks really good, and I would rather have it and not drink it than wish I had it. A lot of weird things go through my mind during the day. I guess it's to occupy my thoughts, but I was thinking, now that I have extra water, I'll probably see lots and lots of streams, just like, because I've stowed away all my gear and I'm prepared for rain, it probably won't. Like carrying an umbrella and stuff like that. There's got to be a name for that. If there is, let me know. Those things that don't happen because you're ready for them. I've been slowly climbing for what feels like forever, but there's the ridge. So hopefully I'm not too far from the top. Trying to find some trees to hold my phone. It's interesting. In the yoga classes that I teach, I often encourage taking time and doing things slowly and emphasizing the pause, and yet it's what I'm struggling with out here. You know, I talked about getting into camp at 2, and that would delay my progression along trail, but I don't have a time limit, and the reason that I'm out here is to be on trail. So why am I struggling with slowing down and pausing? It's something I think about every day. You know, those reoccurring thoughts go through my mind over and over again. So I'm pausing, doing this video. It's warm and it feels more and more like rain. Yeah, pause and breathe. Look at all the green. Just over 5 miles left to go, and it definitely feels like there's going to be a storm. The winds are picking up. It's getting cooler. Let's see. Sun still wants to peek out here and there though. Birds are still singing. I'm still climbing. A little place to sit. And a view of Rye Valley. I think I've done all the climbing I'm going to do today, and the rest may be downhill. I'm not sure, but it sure is green. I am going to get to the shelter and then make myself a cup of coffee, sit and have a snack, and then decide what I'm going to do. I hope there's some service there. I'm almost done with the book that I'm reading, and I would need to download another. But yeah, we'll see. I thought I was done climbing, but nope. Here I go again. I have about 3.5 more miles to go to get to the shelter. I'm glad I got water when I did. I've consumed most of it, although there will be water in probably 2 miles or so. It's funny, but at the end of the days, I keep thinking there'll be a day when I'm not tired, and that hasn't happened yet. I'm always just really tired at the end of the day, and it's just noon. But I've gone 10 miles, 3.5 more to go. Yeah, loving the rocks. The rain is starting. I wonder if it will continue. I may need to grab my raincoat to keep from getting wet, although right now I'm really warm and my raincoat will make me warmer. The rain seems to come and go, but I've yet to put on my shell. Just think I'd be too warm and I'd sweat from the inside instead of getting wet from the outside. Coming up to the shelter. It rained for the last mile or so, but I didn't get too wet. There's tons of places for hanging, so that's great. Looks like there's people up here too. Several other people here, but they're not here. I think they're over at the visitor center, which I'm going to walk to in a moment, having afternoon coffee. And the rain has stopped for now. This is a popular shelter because you can order pizza and have it delivered, I guess. Hopefully the storm will stay away. And this shelter actually has an upstairs, which maybe I'll go up in a little bit. Has a shower that I heard is broken and a sink in the back. I'm gonna be camping over there somewhere. So the visitor center is cool, but there's no service here. And somehow I've got to call and let them know when to be picked up tomorrow. But I'll figure that out later. The weather looks good for now, so I am going to set up before it starts raining again. So this is the upstairs of the shelter. A couple people are already set up here. The window's nice. And there are these places to hang your bag to keep away from the mice. And then that is the downstairs. So you climb down this ladder. So I say so a lot. Anyway, this is a porch setup of my hammock. I can use my trekking poles to create some more space. And this is great if it's going to be really nice out or if it's gonna rain, because then I can kind of spend some time under there. I can also close my doors in, which I will do before I head over to the shelter again in case it does start to rain. Later on tonight, I will drop this down and close myself off a little bit more, but this allows me to hang out, and it also is great in nicer weather because I can sit in my hammock and also see like sunrise and sunset and things like that. So just a great option. It's 8 o'clock and I'm just wrapping up at the shelter, walking back to my bed. It was an awesome night. Probably one of the best I've had on trail. Large group of people at the shelter, all of them super, super friendly, and it was a lot of fun. I'm in my hammock and I just wanted to wrap up the day by saying what a great day. This was a shelter where you could deliver pizza, so I shared pizza with a couple hikers. Great community, lots of laughter, and that's what I've been looking for. I hope this continues.